Well, hello everybody and welcome back. It is Jeff again with another Mindcrack vanilla server video. And we're right here by my base. And there's a little cave down here that I want to explore. But first and foremost, yes, this is yet another holiday giveaway video. Stay tuned for the details to find out what you have to do to be entered into the giveaway. As always, it's just going to involve some type of comment of some kind. I will get into the details of it later. But this time, because I think this is an important video in the nature of what I want to talk about today, I want you guys to really pay attention and stay tuned and get ready. And I'm going to give away more than normal. I think what we're going to do is we're going to give away 10 games for this video, because for one, who doesn't like giveaways? For two, with the nature of what I'm going to have you guys do for this one, I think you'll enjoy it. I think everybody will have a good time with it, and I think it's important and has nothing to do with monetary values of the games or anything like that, but I just think it's important. So I just had to go through a few classes for my work. They decided that every leader in our entire corporation, not just like my specific hospital entity, but every leader in my corporation has to go through something called the Leader of the Future training. It's just a 2-day course meant to train people on how to be a better leader. And one of the big takeaway messages from it, and now, so let me give my opinion on first the contents of the course. I personally, I enjoyed the people who taught the course. They're very passionate about it. It was very fun and interactive, and it was a good networking opportunity for meeting a bunch of other people I'd never met throughout my corporation. It was unfortunate for one that it had to be far away from my facility. I luckily was able to get into a class that wasn't too far away, but they only offered, it was kind of weird, they only offered 2 classes that I saw on site at my facility. And this is for every leader in the corporation, like I said. So there's going to be like 2,700 people attending these courses, I believe, something like that. And there was only 2 classes that told about 30 people apiece that were offered at my facility. The rest of them you have to go off-site for. And the one I was originally signed up for was a long ways away, but it was the only ones that they had left available. And they were, it's a solid over an hour drive from where I'm at. And a 2-day course, an hour drive is quite significant. 2 different days to go that far. Granted, some people live more than an hour away from work, but that's their choice. I completely choose to live close to where I work so that I can avoid that commute all the time. Now, I was willing to do it. I've had to do it before for other things. I don't prefer to, and I wish that as a course that everybody has to take, that they would, wow, why can I aim when I'm in the water? That's really weird. As a course that everybody has to take, I was really hoping that they would offer more to make them easier for the people on their campuses, but they ended up opening one up in a facility that was closer than the ones I had signed up for, which I switched to. So it was only about a half an hour drive in the mornings, I should say, when there was no traffic. At the evening time, it took me quite a while to get home, but no big deal. But besides that, like I was saying, the people who taught the course, extremely passionate about it. They did a very, very, very good job at teaching the material. I can't even say teaching per se, because it's not necessarily about teaching. A lot of it's group activities and making you think harder about yourself. And one of the big takeaway messages is to make sure, in order to be a good leader and a healthy leader, you yourself have to be healthy and take care of yourself. And that's not to say that, not necessarily, but things like eating right, exercising, and this and that, they are discussed, but it's also about taking vacation and making sure you're not late at work every single day because you feel like you just have to get the work done right that second. Yes, there's some things that deadlines come up to, but you have to know how to prioritize and not spend 14 hours a day at your job that you have to be there every day for, just because you can't, get things done, or you feel like everything has to be done at that moment. A lot of it's about triaging things and knowing when things are going to get done. And I absolutely believe in that. I am a very firm believer in work-life balance. Ask any of my team members. That's one thing that they have told me in my evaluation is they really, really, really like the fact that I am a huge advocate of work-life balance. Luckily in my department, that's something we have available to us. Like if you're a nurse on the floor it's much harder to say, hey, you have to leave early today. Okay, no problem. Go pick up your kid from school or go to those parent-teacher conferences that you didn't know about until after the scheduling period came out. You can't really do that on the floors because, you're taking care of patients, and it's not like there's extra people there to just cover the load. Otherwise, that'd just be a bad business plan anyway. If you had extra people on site all the time, then you don't need as many people as you have, and that would turn out to be like not the most ideal situation. Luckily, I'm in a department where, yeah, things have to get done. Not only can things get done, though, off-site, you don't necessarily have to be on site to accomplish everything, but we have the luxury of being able to have other people that can cover you if you need to go do something. And I very often have told an employee came out to me the other day and said, hey, I actually have to have a meeting with my my kid's teacher at school because of something that happened last week. Is it okay if I, it's actually at like 9 o'clock in the afternoon. She's like, and she lives pretty far away, and she's like, I don't know what the best method is to, go, because when I come in, I'm not even going to be coming in until like after noon or whatever, just because of the time frame. It's oh god, just because of the time frame, it will end up taking me to why do I have that on my bar? The time frame it's going to take me to, get there, do what I have to do, and drive. Or she actually takes the metro and like get on the metro. And I was like, don't worry about it. I said, just go do your thing for your kid that you have to do, and then work from home for the rest of the day. I trust you. You do good work. Get your work done. And she was very grateful that I was allowing her to do that. But she also knows, and I've made it very clear, if you have issues like this, tell me. We'll work something out. I'm a huge believer in a work-life balance, and that's because I've been in situations before where my direct report or my direct supervisor was not a believer in that things, and it really screws up your life. When you can't get done what you need to get done for dumb reasons of the fact of, well, you're just supposed to be at work. That's just the way it is. No, I mean, that's not the way it works. It's not the way I do it. So I've been unlucky enough to have the bad situations before. And I've also been lucky enough to have the managers who understand the importance of a work-life balance and have given me the benefit of the doubt in the past as well, so that I have a good example to go on also. And I think that's extremely important. That's not where I'm going with this whole thing. That's not why I was going to bring up this whole topic, but I'm explaining part of what the class was about. And for that reason, like I said, I take care of myself, firm believer in work-life balance. So that part of the messaging and things like that, look, there's diamonds, is something that wasn't necessarily as important to me because I already followed that goal. I already followed those ideals, though there was definitely things in there that I could take away from it. But a huge part of this was making sure we are healthy for ourselves and not just for, other people in order to be effective managers. Now, one thing that became more and more clear throughout this course, though, did I set this thing up in the right spot? These guys are a lot harder to take out now in a regular way because you can't just aim at their feet and go, because there's the whole deal with knockback in this and that. So I wanted to make sure I took them out effectively. One of the key things that I noticed in a lot of the leaders, and these are leaders. I know some of them. They're very good leaders. But there's a distinct lack of confidence among a lot of people. A distinct thought process that, and this is another big part of what the class was about, was that changes are hard. And implementing change is very difficult and hard to do in, your groups, for one, but just in general, because things have gone a certain way for so long, it's not only hard to, shift paradigms and change outcomes and things like that and to get people's buy-in, but not just the fact that it's difficult, but like I said, there was hi, buddy. Come after me, bro. There was a significant, obvious lack of confidence in a lot of these managers and directors, and it was only brought up because people were very open, which was very good about this course and why the networking was good and why I was very excited about the people who taught it in the job that they did, or I guess the leaders of the course, because they really pushed for people to be open and share, and how this is, this is a safe environment. Make sure, nobody's going to judge anybody else. We're all here to help each other. This is, all part of the process of being, healthy and good leaders. And we all were. It was a great group of people in this room, but people were so afraid to try to implement some of their own ideas, to try to even broach the topics with their bosses. Just because we're leaders and directors doesn't mean we also don't report to somebody. Everybody reports to somebody. Even your president and CEO reports to somebody. They report to the shareholders or the stakeholders or the person who owns the corporation. Somebody, yes, exists at the top. But then they still are going to report to somebody else. Just because you exist at the top doesn't mean you're still not bound by like federal regulations and things like that. That you're technically, your boss might become the federal government in some way, shape, or form, even though they don't own your company or anything. But everything you do has to comply with their laws and their rules. So everybody in some way, shape, or form reports to everybody else. But like I said, it was a lack of confidence, and not a lack of confidence because these people weren't competent and able to do the things that they were talking about doing or wanting to do, but it was because not necessarily, and I don't want this to come out and sound the wrong way, but they didn't have the proper motivation and recognition for things that they were trying to do. Like, they've been shot down in the past before, told that their ideas of something that they tried or wanted to implement were just stupid. Like, that's not going to work. That's stupid. Like, what's the point of even trying? And it started to make me think, and that really, it's a pretty obvious thing to say, but when people get constant negative feedback, they truly start to lose hope or desire to try to make changes, because all they've gotten is negativity the whole time. So it's not just easier for them to just not try, because they've gotten this far. They've gotten to the point where they're the directors that they are now. Obviously they're doing something right, but they're still, had a lot of that negative reinforcement throughout a lot of their career or their lives or whatever it may be. And I have too. I've definitely gotten plenty of negative reinforcement. I think everybody does, and everybody has. The thing is, it's all how you deal with that negative reinforcement and where you go. Because yes, you might be in a position where you have a great idea that could save your company. Oh, I forgot that's not 4, it's 9. You could save your company hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, millions of dollars. You could save time. You might be able to do something that's just thought of as a little bit off the wall and be able to not even necessarily working for a company, something at your house, something with your family. Like, maybe your family always has this routine where on Sundays you guys do laundry together. And laundry is this long chore that takes a super long time, but you know that it could be done more efficiently. I don't know how exactly, like how you guys do, laundry at your house, but you know that there's a different way that maybe it can be done a little bit more efficiently, and it would save time, and then you would have more time to either spend on your own doing what you wanted to do, or together as a family doing something else besides laundry. But you've tried to breach that topic before, but nobody was listening. Nobody wanted to listen to you. Nobody wanted to have it. It was just, we've done it for like this for so long. Why are we going to change now? And I think it's important, and I don't just mean in situations where you think that there's a possibility of changing or making something better or making something more efficient. Why are there so many of these guys around? But I think it's just important in general to have a more positive feedback mechanism with yourself, your family, your friends, just so people don't lose that motivation. Because trust me, if you have a setback, and you have another setback, and you have another setback, and it gets to the point where you feel like all your life is a setbacks, nobody's helping you, nobody's giving you that chance, nobody's allowing you to try something that you know is going to be better in the long run. Maybe you just keep applying for jobs. You can't find a job, and you just keep applying, and you keep applying, and you keep applying, and you keep going to interviews, and you keep just not getting the job. Now, a lot of people get upset because they don't have feedback as to why. I don't know what I did wrong in that interview. I'd love to know, but of course the company doesn't necessarily tell you, well, we didn't want to hire you because, this is what you did wrong in the interview process. Most of the time when you don't get a job, you get zero feedback for the reason why you didn't get a job. It leaves you to sit there and wonder, okay, is it me? Is it something I'm doing wrong? Is it just that I'm not the right person for these particular positions? Is it because this employer is just, they're dumb and they're missing out on a good opportunity? It could be any of those. It could be none of those. I mean, it does exist, the possibility, and I won't hide people from the truth. That's something else that I'm very keen on. I don't lie to my employees. If I think something bad's going to happen, like if I fear that we're about to get positions cut, I don't know why my mouse is acting up. If I fear we're about to like get positions cut from my department, we actually were kind of fearful of that last week. I told my employees, I said, this is what my fear is. I do not know the answer. I am going to look into it and try to find out what is going on, and I will keep you all informed. They were very happy that I was open with them. Don't worry about it, guys. Everything's going to be just fine. And then something goes wrong, and you have to start cutting positions. Then they just look at you as a liar. Even the ones that don't necessarily get cut, they lost faith in you now because you've given them a false hope. And it almost seems like you've given them selfishly a false hope, so you didn't have to deal with the, wow. Oh, that's deep. So you didn't have to deal with, having upset and angry people. I make it a very clear point, to be honest. So going back to that, I'm going to be very honest. And yeah, it could be if you simply cannot get a job and you've interviewed and just don't know what's going wrong and why. It could be that maybe your interview style is bad. Maybe you don't have the experience that you think that you have that qualifies you for a job. Maybe you go in there and you're too cocky. Maybe you go in there and you're too timid. It could be those things. And unfortunately, in that type of situation, like I said, you don't get feedback to really know the difference unless you happen to have a good friend at that company or something like that. So the point is, though, people take that negativity, and whether it's their fault or not, especially if you don't know if it's your fault, and people start to get ashamed and fearful, and they don't want to try because they don't want to fail. Nobody likes to fail. It makes you feel like a failure. I mean, hence the word. If you fail, you feel like a failure. Whether it's you rightfully feel like a failure or not is up for question. I don't know the answer to that. But it makes people stop trying. And the point is, you never should stop trying. You need to go after whatever it is that you want. You might not succeed, but you need to go after it anyway. I mean, I've had a lot of setbacks in my life. I've had a lot of good fortune in my life as well. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, oh, I've overcome all these things that nobody else would have ever come back from, and look at me now. No. I've definitely had a very lucky life in a lot of ways. I've also, like I said, I've had a lot of setbacks and a lot of things that I almost gave up. First job out of college that I was so sure that was going to be my job. I had a few setbacks before that I didn't really think too much of. I was just like, okay, whatever. You get through, you move on. It was a place that I had worked before. I don't know why I just blocked that whole thing up. Place that I had worked before. I had my final interview. I thought things had gone well. It was in a different state. I was prepared to move. I was literally just sitting there. I had bags packed because I hadn't completely unpacked yet from moving back home from college, but it was in boxes, like ready. I was waiting for the date of start so that I could move. I was just ready to go. And I remember getting the phone call because my mom knew I was waiting for it. And at the time I was working for McDonald's, just part-time, making, some money after college, while I waited. And my mom called and she goes, Jeff, a letter from the company came. And I said, instantly, I just said, a letter? And she goes, yeah. And I said, not an envelope. Like not a big envelope, but a normal sized letter. And she goes, yeah, a normal sized letter. And she could tell, I think she was excited at first because she assumed as well that it was going to be my offer letter. But having had worked for this company before, I knew that didn't sound right. And I said, oh, you know what? I didn't go check that super deep hole. Let me go back to it. And she goes, you could instantly tell that the tone of her voice at that point changed as well. And she said, yeah, do you want me to open it? And I was like, yes, please. And I said it exactly like that. I was at work. I was on break at work. And she opened it and she said, dear Mr. Sano, And she goes, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." That was the extent of the conversation. And I said, "Okay, understood." And I just hung up the phone. And I think she was a little worried about me because she knew I was going to be, upset, obviously, about something like that, because it was something I basically banked on because I thought it was a sure thing. And that was, like I said, another setback in a long lines of setbacks I had recently had. I'm looking for where that hole was at. A long line of setbacks that I had recently had because I thought that thing was like a sure thing, so I wasn't concerned with the other setbacks. But that kind of stopped me in my tracks for a little while. And I was lucky, though. I had the motivation and support of my family and my friends that were there for me to help me like through that tough time and everything like that. And I'm not going to say, well, I can't say it was not a happy ending. I mean, everything eventually worked out to be a happy ending. 2 years later, I got my first job that was not at McDonald's anymore. So yes, I worked at McDonald's for the preceding 2 years as a bachelor degree in computer engineering. I went back to school and got my master's degree in IT during that time frame because just nobody was hiring and I could not get a job. And when I got my master's degree is finally when I was able to score a job that I had. Like, so it was a relatively long setback. It was something that, didn't make me happy. But one of the things that helped me through all that was, for one, just not giving up. Sure, I took a little bit of time and I, grumbled and growled and, okay, I'm upset with myself for a while. But I had support from people around me. And so what this is about is give your friends, your family, your enemies. It doesn't matter. It depends on why you're enemies. But you don't like somebody at school because you guys don't get along. Okay. It doesn't mean that they don't need help too sometimes. So, to the contest, and this all rolls into the contest. Today, for this particular giveaway, what I want you to do is put in the comments, not to me. Well, you're going to comment to me. You're going to comment on this video. But you're going to write a message of hope or support or happiness, something that you think is going to be uplifting to somebody else. And think of somebody specific. You don't necessarily need to address the message to them, but you very well can if you'd like to. I will not be offended. I would actually love to see the comments filled with messages saying like, Joe, you can do this. I know you've had some setbacks. I know you didn't get that job that you were looking for, but you're a smart person, and then the next job, the next interview, you're going to nail, or something like, Kelly, your new haircut looks great. I mean, as simple as that. Just something uplifting for somebody else, because there's nothing better than other people. Or I can't say there's nothing better than other people feeling good, because of course what everybody wants is for themselves to feel good. I mean, you want other people to feel good as well, but there's nothing better and more, what's the word? Fulfilling. There's no more of a fulfilling feeling than knowing that you did something simple and stupid and made somebody's day. And it's all about, think of this twofold. For one, I want you to take a message away from here. It is, don't give up. Anything you want to do, you can go for. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, but you can go for it. I've yet again applied to be on Survivor. I want to do that. I am determined. I'm bound and determined that one day I will make it on that show. I will be a contestant on Survivor. Will it ever actually happen? I don't know. Probably not. And I only say probably not out of pessimism, but out of the fact of, I think a lot of the people on that show are, actors and put in there by talent agencies and things like that. Oh man, that was close. And put in there by talent agencies and things like that. I don't think most people are like quote unquote real people. Hopefully I get proved wrong. So I'm realistic at the same time, but it's not going to stop me from trying. It's something that I want. And that, I mean, that's a stupid thing to want. I mean, that's literally a want, not a need for sure. Like somebody who can't find a job, they're going to say, I need a job. I need a job to get money to survive. I understand that. Yes, that's more important than me being on Survivor. But everybody takes importance to their own level. It's what is important to me is going to be different than what's important to you. What's important to somebody in this video might sit there and be like, no, what I need is I need to have a good friend that will just listen to me. And that's all they want. And somebody else might be like, I have all the friends. I have a lot of friends. People like me. I like them. I'm a nice person. That's why people like me. But I need a job because I can't live anymore. Somebody else might say, I'm going to lose my job if I don't, get a hold somehow of a more reliable method of transportation. Everybody's needs and wants are different. So you got to take that into account, that if you see something in the comments and somebody like giving somebody a positive comment and it's about something that you personally feel is just material and isn't, what a crappy comment because I definitely need something to live that's obviously just a want. No, you can't think about it like that. People are going to compliment others, encourage others based on a whole slew of things. Everybody is completely different in the things that they need, the things that they want, the things that are going to make them happy. And all I'm asking everybody here to do is make a comment to somebody specific. Like I said, you don't have to address it to them, but I want you to think about it. I don't want you to just throw something in there to be like, oh, there's my comment. It says, yeah, wish you luck on the interview so I can get in this contest. Hey, if you do that, people are going to do that. I can't stop them from doing that. But what I want you to really just take away from this is, I keep walking in circles, sorry. What I really want you to take away from this is to actually think about it, think hard about it, and try to help somebody who you know is currently needing just a little bit of encouragement. Maybe it's you that needs a little bit of encouragement, and maybe one of your friends is watching this video and will write the encouragement to you on this video. I don't know. But also, like I said, don't give up. Try as hard as you want, as hard as you can for anything in life that you want. Hey, could be that girl. That girl that you've been eyeing for a while that you just haven't had the guts to try to ask out. Ask her out. I understand. It's especially like in high school and things like that. It's a scary thing. People are going to make fun of you. She might turn you down. You'll become a laughingstock. It's easy for me to say because I'm past that point in my life. That stuff goes away. Sometimes it makes the best stories too. When you ask that person out that everybody just laughed their ass off. They're like, I can't believe she is so far out of his league. I can't believe he even tried. She turned him down. She laughed at you mercilessly, and you felt like crap for a while. You're going to look back at that if that happens when you're out of high school and college, and you're going to laugh your ass off about it. And I guarantee to you, if that exact scenario that I just said happens to you, in 10 years, when you look back on it, you're going to be so proud of yourself for having the balls to have tried it. It's going to be so worth it. Sure, you're going to be afraid of the consequences right now, but think of the other side of it. What else are those consequences going to be? All of a sudden, what if she says yes? And if she says yes and you miss out on that opportunity because you were afraid that she would say no, and not that you'd ever know that in the future, but can you imagine? Life is full of what ifs, and I try till now. I didn't used to at all. I try. It's still very hard. I try to eliminate the what ifs. And what do I mean by that? You eliminate the what ifs by actually doing the things that you're what ifing. Like, what if I had gone? What if I took the other job instead? Yeah, I guess that's a hard what if to try to live by. But when it's simple things of things you just didn't do, like, hey, I was that waitress that always used to flirt with me. What if I had asked her out? You think she would have said yes? Oh God, this looks scary. You think she would have said yes? I don't know. You'll never know if you don't do it. That's the thing. There is a lot of what ifs in my life that I think about, and I'm like, I don't say I think about them every day, but there's some key moments on things that I'm like, oh my God, like, why didn't I do that? Why didn't I try that? What if I had? How much could it have changed what my life is now? For the better or for the worse? I don't know. That's the thing. It's all about what ifs. People try to make themselves happy sometimes and make themselves feel less ashamed of the things that they didn't do by saying, well, I'm sure if I would have done that, it would have turned out bad. You don't know that, though. You're just saying that to make yourself feel good. And I understand why, because I do it myself, too. But it's much better to not live in the what ifs and explore those possibilities so then you know. What if I ask her out? Well, if I had asked her out and she said no, well, then I would know. Well, she'd said no. Same time, could be married with multiple children right now. Could also be divorced because she did say yes, and then we had a horrible relationship. But that could happen to anybody for anything. I know it's funny. What I'm trying to avoid is giving people false hope in that the things that they do will obviously work out for them if they just do it, because that's not true. But you never know what will or won't work out unless you try. And that's the major takeaway that I want people to have from this is go for it. If you want it, go for it. The worst that can happen, well, I mean, there could be a lot of worst that could happen, but for the sake of this stuff, the theoretical worst that can happen is that it doesn't happen for you. It doesn't work out the way you wanted it to. Somebody says no to a date. Maybe you don't get that job, but maybe you just didn't apply for that job because you didn't think you were qualified. And then you're going to find out later that the person who does have that job is less qualified than you were. I've seen that situation a relatively significant number of times. And I'll tell you, that is frustrating. Eat and run, eat and run, eat and run. And that is frustrating as hell when you didn't go for a job that you really wanted, but you didn't think that you were qualified, so you didn't apply because you didn't want to be embarrassed and not meet the qualifications, and it turns out the person that they give the job to, maybe it's because no other candidates applied, maybe it's because they really impressed him at the interview, maybe they had no other choice. I don't know, but you never will know until you actually try. So guys, enter the contest. I already told you how to enter the contest. I'd like to see it genuine, but also take away for yourself. Just never to give up. That's it. Very powerful. Very important. Hopefully one day I can look back at this video. Hi, buddy. And realize that this video actually made a difference to somebody. And if it doesn't make a difference to anybody, hey, it was fun to make. That's all I can say. I'm not going to live in the what if. Like, what if I made this video? Could I have touched somebody's life? Could I have touched somebody's life? Could I have changed somebody's life for the better? Now I don't have to what if because the video has been made. I might what if on it actually happens because maybe it does touch somebody and they just don't tell me. That's possible. That's okay with me. But now I'll never ask the question on what if I had made it, what would have happened, because I made it and you guys are watching it. And guys, on that note, I will see you in the next episode.